Hello, my name's Kerry Martell. I am your host for RVLivingGuide.com. I'm going to give you some tips for traveling in an RV during the COVID epidemic, because I've done quite a bit of traveling. I've actually done flying even. I flew on some planes. So I'm going to give some great advice for how to stay safe. Now, the first thing you should understand is that COVID's not as deadly as everybody, was trying to make it seem. It is more deadly than the flu, yes. But it's not, going to kill, millions of people here in the United States. It's killing about, double or maybe triple the times the amount of people that are, going to get the flu. And honestly, it's mostly people that are already susceptible to dying from the flu that have died from it, people who are not in great health. So if you're in great health, you probably don't have to worry so much about it. Now, if you are worried about spreading it, here's some tips. Everybody's saying wear face masks, and this is like the generic thing. The problem is that most masks are not going to actually stop it. This whole idea about water droplets is going to stop the spread. That's, sure, that'll stop the water droplets. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stop the spread of the virus itself, because the virus doesn't have to live in fucking water droplets. That's not how this works. It's an airborne virus. For the same reason that everybody wearing these isn't going to stop the spread of the flu or the cold, it's not going to stop the COVID either. And if you think otherwise, you're naive and gullible. So with these masks, what you want, if I'm seeing if you can see this here. You see that I have a little bit of a pocket here. That's because in my mask, I have actual filters. I have real filters that are in my mask. I actually got two of them stacked on each other to give myself extra protection. Now, you probably are not using a mask like that, and therefore your mask is practically worthless. Again, you're not going to stop the spread of the flu or the common cold by wearing a face mask. You're not going to stop the spread of COVID either. Just be real. Okay? Now, with a filter, you have a better chance of not getting anything, and you're not spreading it to anybody else either. But it's not going to be perfect, and that's something you should understand. So if you're really concerned about getting it and spreading it, you should avoid public areas. Unfortunately, that means you probably don't want to be traveling in an RV. It's just the reality of it, right? The reality is that you probably shouldn't travel if you're worried about it. Stay where the fuck you are. That's the best choice for you to make. The thing is, I was spending the entire summer in Phoenix, Arizona, which is hot as hell, and it's just not a great place to be when you're in a travel trailer. I had problems with my electrical system because it was just being overtaxed by the heat. My air conditioner burned out, my fridge burned out, my microwave burned out, all kinds of problems because I stayed somewhere where it was way too hot. So now I'm somewhere cooler, and it's a lot colder, but it's not like so cold that I'm going to have issues with my trailer. So I suppose if I could do things in hindsight, I wouldn't have spent the longest parts of the lockdown in a hot as hell climate with my trailer. So don't do that. Other bits of advice: when you're at a travel site, if you're at travel centers, I should say, gas stations, basically truck stops, they're all the same thing. If you're at one of those, don't spend a lot of time there. Don't spend a bunch of time buying up the food, that they have there. It might be nice hot meals, but you probably, if you're worried about the spread of germs and stuff like that, then you don't want to be eating out. That's the strangest thing about the lockdown. Everybody's like, oh, I don't want to get the COVID, so I need to not go to a restaurant where people are going to breathe on my food. And yet, you're still having other people make your food, which means that they are inevitably breathing on it. And that just comes with the territory. So don't be stupid. Other advice. Dating obviously is much more difficult with COVID, in my opinion. It's not impossible, but there's people that, don't show up sometimes. And then they use COVID as an excuse. And it may not necessarily be that COVID is scaring people away from dating, but rather people are just flaky in general and just sort of using that as an excuse whenever they decide to flake out on a date. Flaking out on a date's always been a thing. So it's nothing really new, but it certainly adds an excuse for people to make. Now, unfortunately, if you're, I'm not going to spend too much time on this subject of dating, but there's more frauds, which is like how I think dating comes into this. There's more frauds now because of the COVID. And it's frauds with trying to find work remotely, and it's also frauds with dating. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't want to meet because of COVID, so let's just chat, and then they ask you for a bunch of money. And likewise, there's people that, oh, we're doing remote jobs now, so we're a brand new company for COVID staffing or whatever. And they want to get a bunch of your information and get you to pay fees to them and stuff, and they're not real companies, or frauds. So watch out for that stuff. What else? There are like free testing, COVID sites and places you can go, but honestly, the tests aren't that reliable. So it's just gonna, why would you specifically, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that, but why would you specifically go somewhere to get tested for COVID if you're scared of getting COVID? Because people that have COVID are going to go specifically to those places too to get tested to see if they have COVID. So you're just going someplace where the staff are going to get COVID and then give it to you. So don't do that. Again, don't be stupid. The plague is being spread, so I'm going to go hang out with the plague doctors. That's not how any of this works. In general, just don't be dumb and don't be naive and don't jump and have knee-jerk reactions to every little fucking thing. Christ. Yeah, COVID will kill people, and it has killed people. But unless you specifically have some sort of health issue that makes you susceptible from dying from the flu, you're probably not going to die from it. So, chill the fuck out. Wear your mask. Don't fight with people over this stuff. It's not worth it. Have a decent mask if you're really concerned about it. Get yourself a filter system. I already had a mask with filter system, so this isn't something I bought for COVID. I already had this shit. So, probably makes you wonder why I had it. I'm not really a prepper person, but I do like to be prepared for things. Let's just give it at that. So, this is my video for some advice. Lived in an RV during COVID. Just don't freak out. That's my advice, and things will be a lot smoother, If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Like, subscribe, give me some feedback, comments. Have a good one.